If you're an Oxford fan or a Wycombe fan, I'm sure you're going to be going crazy about this referee's performance today. But from an Oxford point of view, I think we've only got ourselves to blame for why we didn't win. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of this Oxford United season. Today it was the derby that's not a derby. It's definitely not a derby, or is it a derby? I don't know. But whatever it is, Oxford were at home to Wycombe Wanderers. Not been a great week for the Yellows, who conceded that last-minute goal to Blackpool last weekend and then followed up that with a stinker of a performance against Wigan on Tuesday night. So, who rolled into town? Well, it's Wycombe Wanderers, who have brought us nothing but pain and misery in recent years. And it was always been in recent years Gareth Ainsworth getting the better of Carl Robinson time after time, where Robinson's tactics just felt like it was the definition of insanity, and inevitably it would be Wycombe coming away with the win. But that is the past. Two new managers now, Liam Manning for Oxford, Matt Bloomfield for Wycombe. So will that bring about a change of fortune for Oxford United? Very curious to see if that's going to bring out any change in tactics from Wycombe Wanderers. But whatever it is, Oxford United needed to get back to winning ways, and it turned out to be a pretty crazy afternoon at the Kassam Stadium. We've seen a few of these this season. This is another one. We've got a lot to unpack in this game, but it did finish. Oxford didn't get the win, but they did battle back and get a late draw. It finished Oxford United 2, Wycombe Wanderers 2. So I didn't watch this game in as much detail as I usually do and didn't take as many notes as I usually do, and therefore I am not going to do any player ratings in this game. Hold your applause. I know some of you will be devastated, but the majority of you will be elated by that. But I am still going to go over the team news. I'll do my match review and I'll give my final thoughts. I will put timestamps down below, so you feel free to jump to any part of the video that you want to. But if you do, then please, the least you can do, I should say, is leave a like on this video, because that helps me out a lot. And if you like the content, then consider subscribing. So let's start with Oxford United again. And again, Liam Manning went with this 3 at the back system, looking to match Wycombe Wanderers up in this game. Two changes from the side that did lose to Wigan. Finn Stevens returns into the right wing-back role instead of Stan Mills, and Billy Bowden comes in to replace Tyler Goodrum. Both good changes, in my opinion. And obviously great news that Cameron Brannagan returns to the bench after being out with that virus, which kind of knocked him for 6, really, didn't it? So it still remains McGuane and McGuane in midfield for now. But the big question for Oxford is, can we provide more of a goal threat than what we did in the second half against Blackpool and in that Wigan game? You've got the likes of Mark Harris up there, and I say it again like I said in the last video, he is desperate for a goal. Moving on to Wycombe Wanderers now, and playing a very similar formation to Oxford United, and Matt Bloomfield's Chairboys lie 10th in League One, and they enjoyed a week pretty much exactly like Oxford. They got a draw away at Peterborough, and they were beaten at home by Bolton Wanderers, which means they'll be desperate to get back to winning ways as well. But they do have their share of injuries to some key players, including stalwarts like Jacobson and Grimmer. Those guys have provided plenty of pain for Oxford down the years, and it is actually only one change to the side that did lose to Bolton Wanderers. Josh McGuane is suspended, so that means that the experienced Gareth McCleary returned to the midfield. A bit like Oxford, really. Wycombe have shared the goals around quite a lot this season, but up front they do have Hanlan and Taylor, and they have 5 goals between them so far, and they do have the evergreen Sam Vokes to call from if needed from the bench. Look at the back, Luke Leahy has been tremendous as he was last season for Shrewsbury. What a great signing he is for Wycombe. And Freddie Potts, coming in on loan from West Ham, has also had a fine season so far. So starting the game then, and not for the first time this season, Oxford started the game pretty sloppy, and it took Oxford a while to get into their groove in this one, and probably longer than what we've seen in recent weeks. And for the first few minutes of this game, not only did very little happen, but it seemed like Wycombe were the better side. They pressed Oxford quite high, and Marcus McGuane, I thought, pretty lazy on the ball for him, just looking around, waiting for the referee to make a decision. Get used to hearing that today. The referee doesn't. Wycombe nicked the ball off him, gets forward to Taylor, who gets into the penalty area, and Beadle has to make a pretty smart save early on in this game. But it seemed like Wycombe were the side in the ascendancy without creating many chances, or if any chances at all, other than that early one. Oxford struggled to get into their passing groove, and quite often when they got the ball, they were just trying to hit a long ball forward and see if anyone could just hold it up. Often quite aimless, and often with Harris with not much to really feed on. So the game sort of meandered along a little bit until we got to the 25th minute side, and we've seen Oxford do this before against Bristol Rovers, against Blackpool, where all of a sudden it just clicks. And they get a goal, and we took the lead. And it was a lovely goal, again, from Oxford United. A lovely team move. Nice move by Marcus McGuane and Finn Stevens down that right-hand side, linking up really well. McGuane was able to get space on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Played a great ball back on side-footed ball along the ground, along to about the penalty spot. Rueben Rodrigues making a great late run, got onto it and slotted it home brilliantly. Nothing Strick could do in the Wycombe goal. Oxford 1-0 up, found ourselves in this rare position against Wycombe of being a goal up. And this is where Oxford then shot themselves in the foot, because we've seen this in recent games. You could pick a number of games this season where Oxford get the first goal in the game and do not go on to kill it. And this happened again in this one. We had so many chances in that first half. Bowden missed a header, and it was a really good chance. And you've got to think a better, more prolific strikers in the air would have buried this one as Greg Lee put his cross in, and somehow Billy Bowden headed it wide from pretty close range. And then Harris and Bowden made a bit of a mess of a counter-attack. Not really any fault of Harris, but he got the ball to Bowden, and Bowden was on his left foot, but then tried to check inside and play a through ball, and the chance was wasted. Referee, oh, you could write novels on this referee's performance today, but there was a nice move by Oxford United on the edge of the box, and it looked like they just got the ball through to Mark Harris, who was clean through away from the defenders with a shooting chance, but the referee pulled it back for a free kick. Why he didn't play advantage, anyone's guess, but it still gave Oxford a decent shooting charge from the edge of the box, but Rodrigues put it over. But then the most gilt-edged chance did fall to Mark Harris, and my God, this guy needs a goal, and he just can't get it. He's gone clean through again, like what he did against Shrewsbury. Gone clean through, can't convert. That time he put it wide. This time, Strick comes out to denies him. But really, we all know it. Mark Harris should have scored. So again, Oxford go into a game leading at half-time, leading by a goal to nil, and leading in a game where the opposition have had very little goal threat. Certainly after Oxford took the lead, Wycombe were pretty happy to get in at half-time at 1-0 down. They struggled to create any clear-cut chances, but Oxford, again, whilst we were happy to be 1-0 up and whilst we felt in control, we've seen this script before, and the fact we didn't kill the game leaves you with nagging doubts. So at the start of the second half, again, not much in this game. Pretty standard fare. Wycombe trying to be a bit more direct than Oxford. Oxford trying to play their pass in and get into the game. And nothing was really happening in this second half. But on 56 minutes, Wycombe get a penalty. They, as I said, didn't really create too many chances from open play, but they were just putting a little bit more pressure on Oxford than what they'd shown in the first half. They get some space down the left-hand side. They're able to put a cut back across the ball, a little bit like McGuane's ball back to Rodrigues. And it's actually Marcus McGuane who slipped over on a wet pitch, or an uneven pitch if you're Joey Barton, and he's landed on the ball. And it would have rolled to a Wycombe player. I think maybe McCleary in behind him, maybe it was Hanlan in behind. And McGuane's just stopped that ball getting to a Wycombe player. I don't think you can have any complaints about this penalty. What Oxford will complain about is a similar thing happened in the first half where a Wycombe player fell over and the ball hit his hand. So Oxford will be players you saw going crazy, screaming about the inconsistencies here. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Marcus McGuane still basically fell on the ball, and it was a penalty, and, it was unfortunate. I would actually say he's a little bit lucky that they didn't deem that to be another yellow card, because he could have been sent off because he was already on a booking. But maybe the penalty was harsh enough. But that gave Wycombe a golden opportunity to step up and take it. Luke Leahy, already talked about what a great player he is, stepped up, put it low. It looked like Beadle had gone the right way, and I thought he'd saved it, but the ball snuck under his hand and into the corner. Wycombe back 1-1. We've seen these periods in play for Oxford as well, where we get pegged back and then there is a bit of a step up of urgency, there is a little bit of a step up of intensity, but there was just a lack of quality again. It just wasn't quite falling for us. But Mark Harris once again did miss a really good chance. Greg Lee getting down the left-hand side puts a wonderful ball in. It may have been Marcus McGuane. I'm sorry if I got that one slightly wrong, but Mark Harris gets across, gets in space. It's a free header about 10 yards out, 11 yards out, and he glances it. Too fine a glance on it, and it goes way wide. He should have at least hit the target from there. My goodness, this guy is out of nick. And to make matters worse, Oxford then went 2-1 down, guilty of missing our own chances, and then we gift Wycombe with another penalty. Look, Wycombe were able to get a counter-attack on the here. They a little bit of an overload. Hanlan got more turned, which meant he was one-on-one with Beadle. Beadle came out. It looked to me, obviously I'm wearing a very yellow tinted glasses, yellow Oxford hat and all that jazz. It looked to me that Beadle had smuggled the chance away for a corner. Referee saw it differently. Referee saw a lot of things differently to a lot of people today, and he gave a penalty. And I think that's a shocker. A terrible decision, but as I normally say with these referee decisions, you've given the referee a decision to make, and it's not gone in our favour. It was such a bad decision from an Oxford United point of view. Liam Manning got a red card. Mr. Keep Your Composure lost his composure and ended up getting sent off, and that was a real shock for me to see Manning get a red card, but that obviously tipped him over the edge. But what I will go back to and say is Oxford gave the ball away, passing the ball out from the back, and it meant Wycombe picked our pocket, and it meant they created this overload, and it meant they created this chance. This was ultimately avoidable from Oxford being sloppy. Beadle, very unlucky to give away this penalty, but we're our own worst enemy. And Luke Leahy, he steps up again. You're hoping, the mind games of the second penalty, but he was having none of it. And in fact, he made Beadle look a little bit silly here with like a kind of like deliberate stop stalling style penalty. Sat Beadle down, rolled it into the corner. Wycombe 2-1 up. We've all been here before. We're thinking it's another slap in the face against Wycombe in a game where we didn't feel like we deserved to lose. We find ourselves 2-1 down, staring into the abyss. Of course, Oxford then did make changes, but I do feel these changes came on too late with Mills and Murphy coming into the equation, and Oxford did give it a go. 8 minutes of injury time, and Oxford were in the ascendancy, pushing forward, trying to get this equaliser. There were foreshadowings for what was going to happen, because every time an Oxford player even slightly fell over near the penalty area, they were screaming and running around the referee. And I'd have to say there were a couple of contentious free kicks that Oxford United won that I would be questioning from a Wycombe point of view. And then Oxford do get a penalty late on in the game. 95th minute, the ball is rolled into Harris on the edge of the box. He feels contact. He goes down. Referee awards the penalty. It felt like one of those ones where the referee felt like he had to even things up. That's what it felt like for me. I'm grateful that he gave it in Oxford United's way. If it was given against us again, you'd be saying it was a little bit soft. Harris looking for the contact, goes down. Again, from a Wycombe point of view, you're giving the referee a decision to make. You know he's inconsistent. He's given a decision to Oxford United on this occasion. So Oxford then have a chance to wrap it up. Luckily for Oxford, Cam's on the field. Cameron Brannagan did come on as a sub, so he took the penalty and he converted it into the bottom corner. Mr. Consistency from the penalty spot saves Oxford United here. Panicky end to the game where both sides kind of had little half chances to kind of win it. I was kind of worried Oxford might throw it away after rescuing a point, but that is how it ended. A bit of another one of these crazy games that we've had at the Kassam Stadium that have just descended into madness from absolutely nowhere. And it did end with a 2-2 draw. And I would actually say probably both sides take it. But we'll be kind of thinking, how the bloody hell did you not win it? So that brings me on to my final thoughts. And my final thoughts about Wycombe, I don't really know. I can't say I really saw too much from this Wycombe Wanderers side that was different from an Ainsworth side. I thought they tried to be quite direct. They tried to get the ball forward as quickly as they could. I thought they had limited success in doing that and barely created any chances or any shots at Beadle other than the first minute of the game. I think there was one or two that flashed wide, but nothing, no real sustained bouts of pressure. They didn't look too threatening from set pieces, but they got warded 2 penalties in this game. And I would just say, probably from a Wycombe point of view, they'll be disappointed that they do have a habit of giving away equalisers or winners late on in games, and that has happened again on this occasion. So from their point of view, to get back into the lead is a good comeback, and then they'll be disappointed to not hold on to it. But I just think it was difficult to judge this Wycombe side on what I saw today. Wycombe fans, just let me know, is this a usual style performance from you guys, or is Bloomfield played a little bit more attractive football since coming in there? Just take away the refereeing decisions, because let's not get bored too much with those ones, because both sides are going to moan about that sort of shit. So I just want to know, like, kind of what you, other than that, what you thought about the game, what you thought about the tactics and all that sort of stuff. That's more of the stuff that I'm interested on from your side of things. But ultimately, they remain a bloody hard side to beat, and a side that we struggle to beat, and ultimately we haven't beaten them again. And that brings me on to Oxford United, and again, I'm getting a little bit frustrated with this Oxford United side. I'm getting frustrated because of how the lack of killer instinct that we've got. It's just becoming an annoying thing to say week after week. We, at times in that first half, we played some lovely football again, and at times there were moments where we cut Wycombe open, and we really should have been at least 2-0 up at half time. It just cannot go on like this, that we are so lackadaisical in front of goal and have to create so many chances only to score 1 goal. We really should have took another couple away. Lovely goal that we did score. Nice to see Rueben Rodrigues scoring again. But the level did drop off a little bit in the second half as Wycombe got up a bit of a head of steam. Oxford did struggle to break them down and create as many chances in that second half. And then it just became a bit of a mad scramble at the end of the game to see what we could get back into it. And thankfully, we did get that penalty to level the game up. But from all the talk about keeping level-headed and keeping composed, you do see a frantic nature to Oxford. You do see that in the second half of games where they do lose their heads a little bit, and then we did give away a penalty, and then it did become a little bit desperate to get back into the game rather than controlled, and these things are becoming a little bit of a worry. I think personally Manning should have made the changes earlier in the game. I know he brought Brannagan and Goodrum on after like 70 minutes. I would have liked to have seen Murphy and Mills be the first 2 players to come on to try and stretch Wycombe, to try and like get up the field and get Oxford moving, and then you could have brought Brannagan and Goodrum on maybe with 10 minutes to go. What I will say as well is you don't need to write in the comments how we needed to sign a striker and we don't have a goal scorer. We all know that. I'm not against Mark Harris, and I like the hard work and effort that he puts into this game. And he did win a penalty, and things are just not going for him at the moment. But at least Oxford created some chances for him today, and he is getting into the area to take these chances. And hopefully his luck is going to turn and he'll have a little purple patch where he scores some goals. Because I do think he is a good player. He's just devoid of a bit of confidence at the moment. Do also think as well that Oxford need to grind out a few more wins and a few more games until we can hopefully get Kyle Edwards, until we can get Marcus Brown back fit again, of 2 players that have got a genuine ability to run and attack at pace and take people on and create space, because that's something that's a little bit missing from this Oxford United side. I thought McGuane did some sloppy things today, a little bit unlucky to give a penalty away, slipped over. But there were some good signs for him where he was actually getting the ball and driving forward. He drove forward well to create that chance for the first goal. There was a chance where he got into the area today as well and had a shot on goal, but he's lacking conviction in front of goal. And that's what he needs to do more. And I talk about it a lot, of him just taking a chance more and getting it and running and being direct and taking the game by the scruff of the neck a little bit more, rather than just playing a neat little sideways pass. And ultimately, a frustrating afternoon again for Oxford United. It's 3 games without a win now, but there isn't back-to-back defeats. We have at least saved that and did get that last-minute draw. So the side do deserve some credit for battling back and getting that draw, as much as they were guilty for not killing the game off. We move on to Lincoln City on Tuesday night, which is going to be, it could be similar to the Wigan Athletic game of a side that's looking to sit quite deep and hit us on the break. So it could be another tough one and another game where Oxford United have to be quite patient and try and use their intricate passing skill to break the game open. Hopefully, unlike the Wigan game, we are able to create some more clear-cut goal-scoring chances. But there was some good stuff today. There was some bad stuff today from Oxford United. But ultimately, it just seems to be we just cannot get the job done against Wycombe Wanderers. Well done to them and well done to their fans. Another hard battling performance against Oxford United where we just cannot seem to beat you at the moment. But yeah, it's not perfect, but didn't lose today, so it's important to remember that. And again, very strange afternoon from the referee. But there we go. That'll do from me. Sorry it wasn't as maybe in depth as it's been on other videos, but maybe I'll get back to that at some point. But hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and if you like the content, thanks very much for watching. Do appreciate it, and think about subscribing. But I'll be back to do a review of the Lincoln City game. Enjoy your weekend.